So it looks like we're getting a new wave of Marvel Legends Ant-Man action figures, guys, but are any of these new releases based on the movie and the comics any good, or are they not really worth your money? Be sure you stick around until the end, soulmates, because we're going to talk about what Avengers characters we would like to see released in the Marvel Legends line next. First action figure we're going to look at today, guys, is future Ant-Man. This one is really a boring action figure, I think. The head sculpt is kind of cool, but that's really the only thing I like about it. It's just Sunfire again, and honestly, how many times can you see Sunfire recently before you get burnt out on it? Not really much to say about this one. He just comes with the Build-A-Figure parts, and he comes on a fairly old body, and that's really the beginning and end of it. I'm sure he has his fans, but I'm not one of them. The next action figure we're going to look at from this line, guys, is the Wasp. This is based on her appearance in Ant-Man Quantumania. It's cool enough. I mean, it's an MCU action figure, so it comes with loads and loads of detail. I know that's where all the money goes for all of Hasbro's Marvel Legends budget, and you know, she's a nice looking action figure. Do I really think that I'm gonna want her? Probably not, because I'm just not really all that big a fan of Ant-Man personally, but still, she's cool. She comes with an extra head, she comes with an extra piece for her backpack, she comes with an extra set of hands too, and all in all, it's a fairly nice package. Despite that, I really don't think she's going to be all that popular, because as we all remember, one of the biggest peg warmers of all time was in fact the Wasp, previously released, and yeah, I don't see this one faring any better, to be honest. It's not bad or anything, I just don't really feel like there's a lot of excitement for MCU stuff right now. Next action figure we're going to look at, guys, is Crossfire. This one is a cool looking character, kind of a boring release. They didn't really do much with the design other than just, you know, paint a bunch of details on another pre-existing body, which, are we really surprised at this point? He does come with some cool accessories though. He comes with a set of extra hands, he comes with a rifle along with some firing effects, that's pretty cool. Comes with a strap that you can use for the rifle, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Doesn't really make the action figure look any less bland though, because there's some opportunity for textural effects on him, and they just avoided every single opportunity that was at their disposal. He's already a pretty simple design, and they just flattened him out, and what are you supposed to do besides just shrug about it? He looks kinda cool, but I can almost guarantee this one's gonna warm the pegs, man. The fourth action figure we're going to look at in this wave, guys, is Egghead. This one I think is pretty cool. I like this version of Egghead alright, and I think that the way he's represented here looks more or less how he looks in the comics. One thing I do wish is that he was a little bit more heavy set, because when you see a lot of his appearances in the comics, he is kind of a bigger character. He's alright, I don't really think that he's all that exciting, and I don't think people are going to be rushing out to get them. He's probably going to warm the pegs, just like Wasp and Crossfire. Still, if there were some deep discounts on this one, I would consider it, because I don't think he's bad at all. If you're enjoying the video so far, soulmates, please be sure to take a second and click like, because it really helps me out, and these videos take a long time to put together, so I really appreciate it. Before we get back to the rest of the Ant-Man wave, if you enjoy the content, guys, please consider subscribing so you can see more of what I do. The fifth action figure we're going to look at in this wave, guys, is Ultron, and this one is kind of a re-release of the Ursa Major wave one with a new head sculpt. That one had more of an open mouth, this one has more of a closed mouth. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same action figure, and thankfully it was already a good action figure, so what we're seeing here is still pretty good, I think. Ultron comes with a Kirby crackle effect, and he also comes with a set of extra hands as well as one extra hand, which is pretty cool to see. At least he comes with a few things. If the previous Ultron is any indication, I think that Ultron is going to be one of the ones to get in this wave, because that Ursa Major Ultron was very difficult to get your hands on, I noticed. He kinda just came and went, and I never really found him. I have to imagine that this Ultron is one of those action figures that people are going to be really inclined to army build considering the nature of Ultron. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case, but if people do decide to army build him, then you're going to want to pick this one up as soon as possible. Otherwise, you might not get him at all, guys. This is easily my favorite release in what I kind of otherwise consider a wave of, it's okay. The 6th action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is the man of the hour, I guess you could say, Ant-Man. And Ant-Man is fine. I mean, he looks like he does in the Marvel movies, so no complaints there. It looks like Paul Rudd, so what more can you really ask for, I guess? He comes with an extra head, he comes with a set of extra hands, and, you know, he doesn't come with lots of stuff, but the sculpt is there, the accuracy is there, and there's not much to say about it otherwise. He's fine. And if you want an Ant-Man from Quantumania, obviously this is the one to get. Now, if you want to know my opinion about it, I don't really feel like I need him in my collection. I'm just not that big of an MCU collector for the most part, but that said, he is nice. So if you're an Ant-Man fan, this is an obvious slam dunk along with the other MCU action figures from this wave. Very rarely do we ever look at MCU action figures and I think to myself, oh yeah, that's terrible. No, it's fine, and he looks good here. I do suspect that he'll probably warm the pegs, but I'm not sure. I think he might move a little bit more than the Wasp will. The 7th action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is, well, the actual man of the hour, Kang the Conqueror. And this one, I think, is one that a lot of people are going to go for, because he's the new big bad of the MCU, and he looks mighty cool here, I have to say. Now, one thing about his design that kind of irks me is that it's pretty much just like how he looks in the comics, although they have changed the way his boots look, and I kind of wish he still had those thigh-high purple boots. I know they're silly, but come on, they're kind of classic, and I would have loved to have seen him here. That said, his costume still looks pretty good, and it's pretty accurate for the most part. And the character here looks really, really nice. And something I'm thinking about as I'm looking at him is how his arms are going to be able to move with his tunic the way it is. If it's made of soft plastic, it won't be a big deal, but there has been some pretty thick plastic on Marvel Legends that has made it difficult to bend the arms on some characters, or legs for that matter. I have to imagine that it might be a little bit difficult because I have experienced the thick plastic more than I'd really care to. That said, never say never. You kind of have to have these in hand to really make any final judgments on it. And I think that he's totally worth getting, guys. This is an awesome action figure as far as MCU characters go. I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that if you have a chance to get Kang the Conqueror, I think you should get him, because he's going to be one of the biggest releases from this line easily, if not the biggest. The 8th and final action figure we're going to look at from this wave, guys, is Cassie Lang, and she is going to be a giant-sized Build-A-Figure, and I kind of love that, to be honest. I was wondering if we were going to see a good Build-A-Figure this year, because the last couple of waves have been pretty ho-hum, but finally we are seeing a good one here, and it is well-detailed, well-sculpted, looks just like what we see in the movie. And what do we get with her? We get a couple of sets of extra hands, we get a couple of heads, so that's really cool stuff right there. And she's also very large. She's maybe about, I want to say, double the size of the regular action figures, roughly. Do I really think that people are going to be rushing out to complete this Build-A-Figure? Well, probably not, because Cassie Lang isn't really a character that makes people all excited. People get excited when they see villains or really popular superheroes, but Cassie Lang is kind of just a side character that I don't know that anyone really needs in their collection unless they're just an MCU completist. This is cool, don't get me wrong, the sculpt looks really nice, but it really would have been a better choice if they had done MODOK or something, because at least that's a villain that people can get hyped about. It's always much more satisfying and exciting with action figures in general, not just superhero action figures, when you take a really big hero and you pair them with someone who is their arch enemy. And that's really what I would have liked to have seen here, something based in the comics, or else something really crazy from the movie like MODOK. As it is, you know, Cassie, well, she's fine, I just don't really feel like I need her. I'm not excited right now. And out of this entire wave, there's maybe 2 action figures that I would personally think about getting at some point, and even then, I kinda have to think about it. Well, obviously, for all the Ant-Man fans in the audience, I think that you're gonna get a lot more out of this one because there is some pretty cool stuff here, and if you are an Ant-Man fan, I think you're gonna want to check some of these out, definitely. Now that we've seen this new wave of Ant-Man action figures, guys, what character from the Avengers do we want to see next? Well, personally, I think we're long overdue for a new classic Giant Man. A lot of people have said they want a classic Giant Man. We haven't seen one of those in a while, I don't think. And I still have my old Toy Biz one, but I feel like Hasbro, with all their resources in 2023, could do one that is really, really nice. And if they do that, well, I think I'm going to be pretty tempted to check it out. Well, Soulmates, what do you think about this Ant-Man wave? Are these action figures that you have to have for your collection? Do you like some of these releases but not others? Or are all of these just not really your cup of tea for various reasons? I don't know, guys. Be sure you let me know what you think down in the comments, and let me know what Avengers character you want to see as a Marvel Legend next. If you'd like to learn more about some of the other recent Marvel Legends releases, you can check out that video here, Soulmates.